1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I tell anybody if I'd ever see him if I'm here, I'd say the same thing. Do you know how many steps did you count them? Because most people don't. We knew it from playing football, we'd run them steps. That's why we counted them. We knew how long it was to get there and back, and then running up and down them just to keep in shape.
It was like nothing to walk up and down his city steps. I mean, my friends, when they first come up the city steps, they said, "Are you kidding me? All them steps you walked?" I said, "Yeah." They walked up, they said, "Oh my goodness." But yeah, every day I walk up them, yeah. A lot of people walked up them. We thought nothing of it. Nothing. Yeah.
I walked those steps probably, first through fifth grade, every day, twice a day, and they suck. that was the worst. I hated walking them steps.
I was guilted into walking up Rialto once because I was doing a trash cleanup, and I got to the bottom and I wanted to Uber back up, but they really were like, "You need to walk back up," like everybody else. So I'm like, there's a bus that goes by here though, or something, right?
I had one lady got her hair done every week. She'd walk up them steps every Saturday. She was fairly old too, probably in her 60s all the way up till she was probably 80, maybe, walking up there. Yeah, she was my first appointment, 7 in the morning. She'd come up Pig Hill, Rialto, Pig Hill.
They call it the Pig Hill because that's where the farmers that used to take the pigs down that hill.
Yeah.
Crossed over to the
slaughterhouse on Washington's Landing.
it was a slaughterhouse over there.
You used to go from Montroy, all the way down Montroy, and then down Pig Hill, and then over to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Now you went straight across the bridge, right over there, man, right down there, man, turn around, that's where they slaughtered the pigs and the cows and everything.
There was houses. When I was growing up, there used to be houses. And at the bottom where the light is, there was a hotel called Hagel's Hotel when I was a little kid. Then there was a gas station about 100 feet up that was called Brusco's. But this all got torn down for the highway.
Well, over here, the city doesn't take care of these city steps at all. They haven't trimmed anything. So basically, there's berries growing over there, like these sticky berries or something. And I actually got them stuck in my hair.
I stopped using them steps. Half of them are missing. So I don't want to be bothered with them. They were pretty good years ago, but now it's like there's steps missing or railings missing, and I don't use them anymore.
Every morning, I walk down. Every morning I walk down. So it was helpful for our exercise. We don't have any different places, so I went down the step and come up every day. And I lost my weight through that step because I used every day. So I'm really appreciative for that step.
Whenever I'm cycling down Rialto, I'll kind of wait at the top until I get a green light so I can race down, just because I get a lot of joy out of speeding down it. And my commute back on bicycle is walking the steps with my bike.
I think I seen him too, matter of fact, coming up that hill, carrying a bike up. Yeah. That's a long, pretty nice hike, Yeah.
We used to walk those steps. We used to race up and down them. We used to go into school. You see who could make it down the fastest or who can make it up the fastest. Now I probably got to stop every other flight. Back then, I used to be able to run from the bottom to the top. Not anymore. I couldn't do it today.
The city steps, if they could speak, yeah, I'm sure they could tell some stories. Yeah.
I mean, back in those days, you'd walk a mile below to get $1, all the way to heaven and back. There's a lot of energy in them steps, I'll tell you.
Which copy?
Yeah, he was high class.
No, you know, he was from South Country already.
No, would you guys,
You gonna plead the fifth waltz?
what do you do? Sing me and my shadow. Come on, handsome. Thanks for sleeping. This is an art juice.
Yeah.
Yep.
See you all. Take care, buddy.
Okay,
Good to
you
see
too,
ya.
buddy.
Stay out of trouble.
Oh, easy.
That's my middle name, Trouble.
So you don't remember the Kaufman family?
I don't think so. I can't remember. Where did they live?
B Street, Susan, Phineas.
Ordering first course tuna, second course corn soup, third trumpet, fourth halibut.
This not a winner?
How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. A dozen eggs and then some cheese.
Sure, okay.
A hot pepper, a half pound.
Sure. Anything else, sir?
Can I get the green peppers as well?
Hey, Marion.
Fill it up, please.
All right.
There you go. All right, thank you.
We used to have a dog named Buttons. I was 8 years old when we got him. Everybody knew him. We didn't have a gate. We didn't have a fence. And my dad didn't believe in tying the dog up. So if the dog got out, he got out. And every time my dad would walk us up to church, and we'd be in mass. And somehow the dog would get out of the house because we didn't have a fence. So if he'd get loose, he'd follow us in the church. He'd be looking for us. He'd come up the aisles. He'd be looking for our family going into church. So my dad had to pick him up, take him outside, and that son of a gun would come back in for it. He was a little mongrel. His name was Buttons. He used to go to church with us. He was ran over. He got stabbed. He was missing half an ear. He lived to be 15. My mother used to make him birthday cakes. Yeah, my mother always had dogs. When my mother passed away, I talked about that at her eulogy. Because everybody knew. I said, there goes that Dan Zuzo dog coming to church. That's the stuff I remember about Holy Name. I was at work, and where was I working at? I was working somewhere downtown, midnight shift. And somebody said they had a radio on to talk about a bad fire on Troy Hill. And they said Most Holy Name School. And coming up here the next morning, getting off work and looking at it, they had the police barricades. It was a brick school, so there was bricks everywhere on the ground and all that. And I'll never forget that. What I used to like, they used to have Fridays, they used to show movies down in the old school basement. The old reel, the big ones, and they make all that goofy noises, the old time movies. And that way you got out of school for half a day. That's what was always nice. And then they had assemblies, they had football, like I said, they had basketball. You got the bowl when you were in 8th grade down in Lyceum. You thought you were top notch, When you lose a school or something like that, your neighbor loses its identity. So, that's what you lost.
Our family in our background, we live on this hilly area, mountain area. So when I saw the Troy Hill, so it reminds our place, our city, This is the most interesting thing is, my life. When I was a student, we did exam and we learned about the geography of all the world. And we learned about American history as well. And the teacher told me, before the exam, he asked me, we have a pop quiz. Where's, the world's largest steel factory is located? If you know, can you raise up your hands? And I raised up my hand. And then he asked me, I told him, Pittsburgh. And he gave me a piece of chalk. He handed that to me, write it down. And then I couldn't spell, Pittsburgh City. And he, hit with a chocolate piece, you don't know this one. And it made me a little bit upset. And when I came to Pittsburgh City, already we learned in high school, so that it reminded our high school life. Now it's become even Troy Hill and the city is like my native hometown. I love this city.
Good three, Jen. Good three. Stay there, John. Stay there.
Eat it.
One. Woo. Up. Hey, you're there. Right. He slid out. I was going to have a heart attack. Go, Miller. Take the walk to the light top. Dead. 1 and 2.
Hey, leave it the mic. Leave it the mic. Don't worry.
Come on.
You out.
Bracken, Beach Hill, pick up, deliver. That's fine. What can I get for you? So 12 Frankie Bites barbecue, cheese fries, Philly steak, medium pepperoni roll, and macaroni and cheese bites. Okay, we'll see you soon. Okay.
I have to go to the bathroom so bad. I want to do it. C-H
S-H ship.
S-H ship.
T-H thumb.
T-H thumbs.
C-K sock.
C-K sock.
C-K, C-K, C-K
Sock. C-K, sock.
Beautiful job, everybody. You know your sounds very well. We pull them apart. Now we're going to put them together in words. Part 2.
Okay, we're going to try tapping one. We're all going to do it together. It's going to make kind of a funny sound, right? Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Got a chunk? All right, let's try tapping it. Remember how many sides there are?
Yes.
How many?
6.
6 sides, okay? Now let's try to make sure we can create a cube with 6 sides. Here we go. Let's tap.
I messed up.
You didn't mess up. You're doing great. Tap it. Try it.
Self-portrait is the words we use to describe a painting of ourselves. What about if I am painting Garrett? Or what if I would like to paint Nadia? Or maybe Garrett would like to paint Nadia. What's that?
Others the way you want to be treated. So it's really important to spread kindness. Ready? We're going to make the stick sound. Here we go. First move, step forward, punch. Ready? Keep together. Step back and protect. Step forward, punch. Yeah!
I was in Latimer. Latimer's right there on North Avenue. And all the girls wore dresses or skirts back then. They didn't wear pants, long pants at all. The boys are walking in front of me, was going up the steps. And there was a new kid there. They said, "Yeah, I dare you to run your hand up her dress." He did. I turned around and knocked him down the steps, flying down the steps. Principal was standing down there. "I see that," I said. "Did you?" I said, "He had no business putting his hand on my dress." Kid ended up at the hospital. Well, it was probably a month or so later. I'm walking down Cedar Avenue, where the park is there, and I seen this kid. He's on crutches. "You just wait till I get off these crutches," he says, "and I'm going to break your neck." I said, "You are? Really?" So I went over, I grabbed his crutches, and I beat the hell out of him. And I took his crutches across the park and threw them up at the thing. And I told him, "Before I ever see you again, you better cross the street or you're going to get it again." I wasn't that mean, but it was just that I had to let him know, "You stay away from me. I ain't bothering you. You stay away from me."
I actually started getting bullied
Yeah.
by like these people.
And
I
everybody
couldn't
knew,
pronounce their
just
names,
don't bother
But like
her.
they would try to be
Don't
my friend at
let me
first,
bother.
and then they would just try to start something, and they would try to do stuff to hurt my feelings. And sometimes, even if I tried to be nice to them, they were just like rude back. And I don't know what I did to them. And I was a loner, so I didn't talk to many people. I had my only one best friend because every single best friend I had, they moved. Sometimes they didn't want to be friends with me anymore. But I think when I was in 4th grade, and this boy, he kept like being very pushy. I just didn't want to talk to him, but he kept like bothering me and calling me names. And I got very mad, so I went to the back of the library and I just sat there or something for the rest of the day. The teacher yelled at me, but he didn't yell at him for bothering me. And that's what really irked my nerves, the fact that the
I was
teachers
mean
didn't do
sometimes, and I
anything
knew when I lived up here. A lot of people and neighbors up there knew she's mean, you know. But I had no brothers or sisters growing up. I had nobody to help me with anything. And my mother and dad was always working. All kind of hours that were never home. And I just had to take care of myself. And I had a lot of bad things happen too that just made me tougher, you know. Yeah, but not now, not anymore. I'm just done. I'm done. I'm just tired. No, I can hardly walk, and I can't see hardly, and I have no teeth from falling and knocking my teeth out. So I just sit here and wait till it's time to go. I hope they build them steps up to heaven that's easier to climb. You know? Maybe by the time I get there, they might have an elevator or something.
Usually down here, there's like an ice cream truck that comes by, and it's like the best. But also know that you need to have a lot of money because it's like really expensive. It was like $4 for a popsicle. And so if you go to the Unimart, you could get it way cheaper. Just take notes, people. $4 or $5. And I mean, it makes like a really obvious sound. It's pretty loud, like a ding, 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 like a, like a doorbell sort of, but like a lot of doorbells. It usually comes on the main road, but you can like really hear it from out near my house. You gotta step over lots of stuff because there's plants, trees, everything. I advise you, if you're running down the steps, wear a helmet. Just wear some sort of protection. You're gonna get hurt. That's just dumb. But, I wanted ice cream.
This side of the steps is just sliding down. You watch out for all these leaves. So many prickles. And one of these steps, like I think over here, are all broken, kinda. So be careful when you're walking up these. And you can kind of see house layouts, or like just the bottom parts of them. Right there, you can see a wall actually, right there. That's part of I think it was a part of an old house that probably got broken down. And I think down here was like, before this was all caved in or something, it was like houses down here. And like there was a tiny little place where you can crawl in. It's underneath steps or something. But this whole part of the railing's all missing. So that's great. Not like anyone's gonna fall over. And then this whole big tree that we all like go down, we play on it sometimes.
Sometimes we actually like to walk up across this and play behind it, like playing games like time travelers. We like to pretend we're in like a earlier time and we're like discovering stuff, so we use this bridge to get across. Like we did it. We did it about once, but it was still fun.
And then we used to pretend like all the falling down over trees were dragons. Elliot was the first dragon that we named, and there's actually one over there, and we called her Jane. And she doesn't have much company. We used to do that all the time. And more poison oak is over here.
And then there's just like a bunch of garbage everywhere. Lots of people like to leave tires. And then like there's these really nice bushes with some good flowers.
There's actually a bucket somewhere in the tree with like an orange heart on it that she discovered or something right up there if you look up. I couldn't see it at first, and then I noticed it.
There is a purple bucket hung by a very, very tall branch, but it's been there for like a very long time.
My theory is that this all used to just be land, and then it all like down. This whole part was just covered in dirt, and someone hung it up on a very small tree or something, and it just grew, and it's stuck there. You don't know what's in it though. There could be a bird's nest in it or something. Maybe just a whole bunch of water because it just hung over a tree, but it probably has a whole bunch of water, leaves, and maybe a few mosquitoes.
Probably a bee's nest, maybe.
I wish there was
$1 million. Honestly, if I could get it down somehow.
And over here,
well, as you can see, this is our yard. Lots of sticks and branches.
And we're just playing the zombie apocalypse game, so we like kind of put a few things.
We didn't start playing out here because there was like a lot of trash out here always. So then this one day, it was like a couple months after my pap died, we just felt like we don't really have anywhere to play. So we came down, we cleaned up so much trash, and we just started hanging out down here, trying to build stuff.
A whole haunted house.
Wait, this will be gone. Here we go. Here's some plans. Okay, so here's like a hallway, and then here's like an elevator.
Yeah, the elevator's over there. And this over here is actually supposed to be a meat locker room. And the original plan was there was a crawl space that you can crawl through and maybe like put in a nursery or something over here, and then again like play some sounds, like mushy type of sounds, like guts getting ripped out, like that.
Or even like scary noises like
Child's whisper. Do you want to play a game? Do you want to play a game? Something that you can't do at all. I love it so much. It's just something that just sparks my interest in building, and I want to be a robot for Halloween. Well, when that comes.
This was a house. This was my house growing up. There was a house there. It burnt down a few years back. My mom and dad lived in it. And my dad had bought us this house over here on the opposite side of the church. So he was on one side, him and my mom, and we were on the other side. And in the back there was the little yard, and there were steps going down there. We had a picket fence. And we had a fire. I was living up there, and my mom and dad were living here. My mom was blind. It was in January, and I worked back at the little store, Victoria's Dairy. Okay, I don't know if you know where that is. So I'd come out, and next thing you know, I smelled smoke because somebody said, you know, my girlfriend across the street, she had called me, and she said, Bridge, it's an emergency. Your house is majorly on fire. And I'm like, what? She said, your mom and dad's house. I don't know if they're alive. Now, I could smell the smoke all the way back there. So could you imagine what you would be feeling if you didn't know if your parents were alive? And you can smell smoke how many blocks away? Like almost half a mile or whatever. I just ran out, locked up, called my boss, and I said, I gotta leave. You know, he's like, well, wait. I said, I can't wait. I gotta go. So my one friend of mine that was in the store, he said, I'll ride you up. Well, he could only go up to Cowley Field, like down to there, and he couldn't go any further. So he said, I'll let you off here. And I ran down there, even though it was bad. I just ran and ran. I could see the smoke. I could smell it. And then I found out my dad was laying over there on a stretcher, 3rd-degree burns. My mom was on oxygen. She didn't have 3rd-degree burns. My dad did. So it was a miracle they lived. It's a miracle they lived. Then when she thought that, you know, she was coming back to the house and all that, and we were like, Mom, it's gone. She's like, what? Like, it's gone, there's nothing, it's bad. It's bad. And she just started breaking down and crying. Which she's been so strong all her life, but I would have done the same thing, you know. She couldn't see, so she didn't know how bad it was. She lost her sight. She learned how to drive, and within a year later, she lost her sight from diabetes. She had diabetes. I took her eyesight. She was up Cowley playing volleyball, and she had lost sight in the one eye. She got hit in the good eye. I told my mom, I said, Mom, your eye's all red. Please get out of the hospital. She goes, I'll wait till in the morning. I said, no, please, I think you should go. She goes, I'll wait, I'm fine. She didn't go that night. She woke up and everything was foggy. She woke up screaming. Rose, we need you. We're coming up.
What about?
What year did she become blind?
What year? Oh, Lord, I don't know. I have to think. She was 45 when she went blind. Okay. She was 45 years old when she went blind. And for exercise, she would walk up and down those city steps twice a day. Every day. For exercise, she walked up and down those city steps.
Yeah.
Amazing. That woman was amazing.
She gave me so much strength from learning from her, like how she dealt with being blind. She sewed. She went to Cowie on her own. She walked up the street to the end of the street, up to Cowie Recreation Center. She swam. She baked, cooked,
baked, everything. She was amazing. Amazing,
Mhm.
very amazing, yeah. Always had a smile on her face.
Yes.
Always looked up like, she's blind, but looked up like, but a smile, always a
Yep.
smile on her face. Never a frown.
She was my inspiration, I can really say. If I ever have a tough day or something's really bad, I say, you know what? There's always someone worse off.
Stop. Let's stop.
Oh yeah, they had a steam whistle that blew at 4:30 every day. It was a loud whistle. You'd hear it all over the hill. Everybody heard it. I mean, you knew what time it was, and that whistle blew, you knew it was 4:30. And it only took my dad 10 minutes to get home, so when that whistle blew, you better have your feet under the table and ready to eat by 4:45. A lot of people up there worked there. I mean, probably every other person worked down there. George Spiesick up the street, Mr. Neparini, Tony Barley, he's still there. Mrs. Cleaver, she worked there. Mr. Cincinnatus, Mr. Sepsic. I mean, most of the people in the neighborhood worked there. Mr. Kosh, they all worked at Heinz. Mr. Kosh, I think, worked in the boiler room before I was there. Well, when I first started down, I was peeling red beets. Then they were coming in off a truck down the line. You had to pick the bad ones out and sort them. And it was cold, wet. I hated it. Yeah, it was, I just kind of worked my way up over the years, And I took the maintenance supervisor job until I left. So I got a total 43 years down there. When I was a kid, the only thing that was there was the golf building and the Grant building and the Century building. I mean, this is all It's all new. I watched them build the steel building. I watched them build all these buildings. That's the whole city of Pittsburgh. That's what's left of the Heinz Company. I mean, none of that was there. It happens gradually. You know, you don't notice it. A little bit here, a little bit there, and before you know it, there it is. It was a Saturday. I mean, it was nothing unusual. I just got up and went to work. Drove to work and went and changed my clothes, and that's when it happened, you know. I mean, you just take it for granted going to work every day. You're going to come home. Well, it was the first 4 floors of that building. It says Heinz on it, and the boilers were from basement to the ceiling. They brought a contractor in to take a couple boilers out. Well, they did, but there's catwalk. You know what a catwalk is? They cut it up so they could get underneath it and remove what they had to remove, and then they sat it back down, but they never refastened it. So it was my job and another guy to go up there and put safety railings up so nobody would fall off of there. We went up the next day after they were done. So I pulled him up with a rope, and I pulled my welding lead up, and I tied it off, and he said, "Let's get a cup of coffee before we start here." I said, "Okay." So I was down on my knees, so I stood up. When I stood up, the whole thing just shifted, and I went straight over the side, 5 stories straight down. I was laying there, and I was looking up, and I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move. And I thought I was dead. I thought, man, this looks like being dead, and all of a sudden I was able to start breathing again. But I had no feeling from my arms down. And I remember and then one guy came down, and he pulled my eyebrow open. I guess his hands were dirty. I hauled in and putting his dirty fingers in my eyes. And the one fireman said, "Look, we got to do something. We got to either move him, he's going to bleed to death." So he picked my legs up and put them blow-up pants on him. And then he moved me. I never felt so much pain in my life. I didn't think I was ever going to walk again. I mean, I didn't even know if I was going to live, you know. I broke my back, my pelvis, and both my legs. And I just couldn't wait to get out of that bed, you know. It's hard. Just a little bit at a time. You go to therapy, and you just have to learn to get everything moving all over again. You just start walking a little bit more every day, you know. Just before you know it, I can't run, but I can walk, you know. I was off for 3 years. And I went back and never missed a day since. Yeah, it worked out. You never know. It's just not your time, you know.
I need my beauty rest.
That's it. Tinkle, tinkle.
People stay on their own side of the river. I learned that about this city early on. When I'd ask for directions, I don't know, I live in the South Hills. I'm like, but you don't know how to get, it's just across the river. No. People go to work. They live their lives where they live. So they may not encounter someone who's different. You have to really seek that out around here. And not everybody's doing that. They may not even think to do that. So when they get around somebody who's different, they're not comfortable and they probably don't know what to do with those feelings.
I was always walking up and city steps down there to come up here. Couldn't do nothing else, but if I wanted to come up here and see my mom, I had to walk up, and that's all I could do. I have a lot of friends who got vehicles. I'm not allowed to drive because I take seizures. I take epileptics. I've been taking them 60 years. 60 damn years I've been taking these damn things. Ever since I was born. Ever since I was born I had this thing. I said all I wanted to do when I was younger, 16 years old, to be a truck driver. Drive 18 wheels, go all over the world. And I can't do it because I take these seizures. And I understand that. I don't want to be on the road, kill me or 10 other people. No, I don't want that. I understood that. I'll never drive. No way. When I wanted my license, when I was 16, I said, we can't give you no license. I said, why not? I'm going to drive a car. I said, you can't drive a car. I said, why can't I? Everybody else is driving one. Why can't I? That's when they told me about my seizure. They said, I'll never be able to drive as long as I take these seizures. And I've been having them for 60 years. Like I said, all I wanted to be was a truck driver. Because I'm on the road at nighttime, you know. That's when I do my driving. Everybody's home in bed sleeping there, and I'd be on the road, you know. And they ain't got to worry about stopping or hitting the brakes and that. They ain't got to worry about that because you're on the road all by yourself. That's why I always like being a truck driver, because I'm not married or nothing. I got no kids or that. It's just me. I could do it, take a load and drive in a truck. They would send me to Florida. They would send me back to Washington, Philadelphia. I'd be all over the country. But I never had that chance because of the seizure. Screwed my life up ever since I was born.
Can you tell me about the first time you saw the ocean?
I've never seen the ocean. That's what I mean. I couldn't imagine it, but I really couldn't describe it. I really couldn't. Because I really don't know what it looks like. You know, because like I said, I never had that chance to see different things, see different places and that. I never had that privilege. But if I figured if I was a truck driver, I would see it all. And sooner or later, once they're going to be sending me there. Sooner or later, like I said, I'd be in Chicago, be in Philadelphia, be in Florida, be anywhere. I'd be all over the place. I mean, like, if I was just thinking about it, like, wow, well, what Philadelphia would look like, you know, being there with a load and that, dropping it off and giving me an empty to bring back here to Pittsburgh. You know, send me to Florida, Chicago, anywhere. If I was able to drive a truck in that, I would have seen everything. I'd have been all over the world, country to country to country, different times. And they would send me from one state to another state, to another state. I'd be all over the world. I'd be all over the world.